I'm Sharon Bill. Welcome to my Theory Tuition series where we're working together step by step through each of the ABRSM Theory grades. There are lots of resources available to help you on my website. If you go to sharonbill.com, you'll find some free PDF information sheets. They're available to download in US letter or A4 and accompany each step of this series. There's also a page with links to all of my YouTube video tutorials, and you can access information about the books that I have available. I've written an exam technique guide, how to take your ABRSM Music Theory Exam. It's full of tips and techniques on how to best prepare for your exam, and also how to make the best use of the time on exam day when you're working through your exam paper. So if you visit sharonbill.com, you'll find it's all there. If you can give me a like, that'd be really fab, and subscribe to my channel to keep updated. I've lots more planned to work through with you. And so now we're going to look at the final paper, the specimen paper of the 2017 practice papers of grade 5. So if you turn with me to page 22, so this paper was never actually set as an exam paper, unlike the other papers in this book. This is just an extra sort of specimen paper just to give you a little bit more revision. The principle remains though, have a go of this yourself first of all. It's always better to learn by your mistakes. Always work in pencil. Have a nice sharp pencil. I use a mechanical pencil just so it stays nice and sharp. You've got an eraser, so if you go wrong it doesn't matter, you can just rub it out, and you'll need a ruler as well. And so I'm hoping you've had a go of this yourself, and so we'll now work through these answers together. So referring to this extract here, we've got some questions below to answer. The first question asks us, it says, it begins on the first beat of the bar, there's no anacrusis, and it contains some changes of time signature. So watch out, we've got 3 places marked with a star that need a time signature, and they may well all be different, and so we need to just look at those separately. So we need to decide what our lower number is going to be first of all. And so I'm just having a glance at this, and I'm looking, is that a group of 2 and a group of 2, or a group of 3 and 2? So we could have a mix, but then we've got a group of 2 here. So we've definitely got mixed groups of 2s and 3s, however that works out. So we're going to be counting in an irregular time signature, and looking at it we're going to be counting in quavers or 8th notes. So let's just count how many of those we've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those 2 make 1, 6, 7. So 7/8 is our time signature there. We've got a similar situation here. So we're counting in 8s again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 this time. And then here, now this 7 means that we're counting all of those 7 semiquavers in the time of 4. So we've got 4 there. So that gives us, if we just branch that out a bit further, 2 quavers or 2 8th notes, and there's another one, so that one will be 3/8. There we go. Let's have a look at the next question. So we're asked to rewrite the first 2 notes of bar 3, marked with a bracket, you can see there. And we need them to be at the same pitch, so just watch you don't jump any octaves, but we need to change to the alto or the C clef, which is at the middle line. So there's our starting point where middle C is. And so here, if we work out, that's middle C, C, D, E, F above middle C, C, D, E, F above middle C, and then up a step, and these semiquavers or 16th notes, if we just beam those, give them 2 lines on the beam, that's the job done. So let's move on to the next part of this. Now here we are going to be referring to this next extract, nice bit of Mozart piano sonata, and we're asked to describe the chords, and we also need to show the position of the root of the chord. So we need to show the bass note. So they've told us helpfully that we're in F major, so all we need to do is write out chords 1, 2, 4 and 5. So 1 will be based on F, 2 will be G, 3, 4 is B, C. Use your piano keyboard if it's easier just to visualise that. We want the first, the third and the fifth of the triad. Again, if you want to use your piano keyboard, first, third, fifth. So let's do that for all of these chords, all these triads. And then we just need to show root position first inversion, second inversion. So let's have a look at chord chord A in bar 2. We've got a D, a D, a G and a B. It's a B flat of course, but your key signature will take care of that. So we know that it's a chord 2. And then the bass note is the D, so it's a chord 2C. Let's have a look at bar 4. So we've got, we're still in bass clef, yep. A C, an A and an F, so that's a chord 1. And then the C is in the bass, the lowest note is a C, so it's chord 1, C, second inversion. And then the last chord we've got here, chord C, is a C, G, E, so that's a chord 5. And the C is in the bass, so it's a chord 5. You could leave it at that or you could just say 5A. When there's no A, B, C, it's always presumed to be a root position chord. So 5 or 5A says the same thing. Let's move on to the next page. So we are now looking at page 23 and we're looking at question 2. So we're looking at some melodic intervals. Melodic just meaning one after the other, and we always count the lowest note as the tonic or the key note that we're counting up from, regardless of which order they come in. And so let's look at this first one. Before we need to get bogged down in majors, perfects and so on, let's just get the numbers. 1, 3, 5, it's a fifth. So you always count your first note as the tonic or the key note. So E flat. Now E flat to B flat, if you're thinking an E flat major or E flat minor, would have B flat would be perfect. And we've gone from E flat to B flat, but then it's a B natural, there's no flat there. So we've made the interval a semitone bigger. So we've augmented that perfect interval. It's an augmented fifth. Let's look at this next one. So again, you count your lowest note. So it's a 1, 3, 5, 7th. And if we're counting the lower note as our tonic or key note, we're counting in D. So D major would have C sharps. So let's look at this. D major would have C sharps. D minor would have C naturals, and then a flat makes it smaller again. It's a diminished. Now we've made even the minor interval smaller by a semitone by adding the flat, so it's a diminished 7th. So this next one, you can see straight away that we've already exceeded the interval of an octave, so I'm just going to jump this up an octave to begin with. So we begin from this G, this G, 1, 3, 5, 7, 8. And so counting from this point, we've got a 1, 3, 5, 6. So it's a compound 6. So I'm going to just pop that in straight away, leaving a gap in the middle. Now here, this is a G. Now G to E would be major. E is part of G major. However, it's an E flat because of the key signature. And so we've made that a semitone small. So we've gone from major to minor. Or alternative, you could think that E flat is part of G minor scale. You can see G to E is the major interval, and then the minor interval is always a semitone smaller. Let's carry on. So we've got a 1, 2, we've got a second. Now it's tricky to think in terms of F flat major or F flat minor, so let's think of it from F. So F to G would be major, and then because we've made the lower note a semitone smaller by adding a flat, we've made we've made it a semitone different by going a semitone lower. So actually, because the bottom note has been made lower, you make the interval bigger, so we've gone from major to augmented. Don't just presume because there's a flat there it makes it's made it smaller because it's your lower note. If it's your top note, it brings the interval in, but because it's your lower note, it's extended the interval out. Let's count this. So again, we've gone over an octave, so I'm going to just jump. So we've gone from C up to the next octave up. So here, now this again, we've got lots of sharps, so that makes it tricky. The lower note is our starting point. So instead of thinking from C sharp to D sharp, if you think, cancel those sharps, C to D is major, part of the major, so C sharp to D sharp is a parallel step, and so that's still major. So that's a compound major second. Alternatively, with these compound intervals, you could just count it and think that's going to be a 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. That's going to be a 13th, but you'd still need to know that it's minor. So I just stick to the compound, and then I don't have to relearn all the numbers. And so again, this would be a compound, instead of being a compound major second, that would be a major ninth. That's another alternative way of answering that question. So there we go, that's that question completed. I hope that that's helpful to you. We'll look at the next question in the next video. Thanks for watching. Please do subscribe to my channel. There's lots more in store, and please do go to sharonbill.com and make use of all of the resources that are available to help you there. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.